Welcome, folks, to another shoe share. How many times have you seen a shoe photo that looks like this? I just thought that was hilarious. So I'm not really the star of the show. These guys are the star of the show. These are the beautiful Antonio Mecariello Hastatus 2 Adelaide Oxfords, made in a navy pin grain facing with a navy calf, and was sourced from Fine Shoes in Hong Kong just a few weeks ago on a fairly deep discount, and so I was able to jump on that and try to decide if I wanted that shoe, and very happy with my purchase. But I wanted to show you the shoe in its glory since I've posted a few photos, and maybe it'll help some of you look at the brand Antonio Mecariello a little bit more. I also wanted to talk a little bit about Antonio Mecariello because he's probably one of the more popular brands on the forum in terms of people who are exploring or wanting this brand. A little bit of history about Antonio from what I know, and granted I'm possibly that I'm throwing out errors, but my general feeling and from my research is that he came on the scene probably almost a decade ago now on the shoe forum with a large number of photos of very creative, fashion-forward, classic menswear, specifically classic men's welted shoes, and kind of gained a cult following and has ever since built that following over the course of years now with very, very smart styles that are very well assembled. He has a number of different lines. He has an Aries line, which is essentially his entry-level Goodyear welted shoe. This is in the middle tier of it. It's a hand-welted shoe ready to wear called the Argentum shoe, and it's sort of a hand-welted methodology with a tight waist. You can see the tight fiddleback waist there, and blind stitch on the arch there. You can see a very elegant sort of fudging there on the edge of the sole there, and as I mentioned, a very beautifully hand-painted, tapered, essentially fiddleback sole with a block heel in this instance. A lot of his shoes come with a little bit more of a taper to the heel, but it's still quite smart. Still kind of sits well on the rest of the shoe. And this is the Adelaide Oxford, very well done. I thought, initially when you look at it, you're like, oh, it looks like kind of all one color. But then you kind of come in and you see the detail here. You see the pin grain, that navy pin grain, and then the lovely brogued Adelaide with a sharp medallion there. So just a beautiful shoe, very elegant, something that you can dress up, or if you want, slightly dress down. And comes with shoe trees, very, very nice. Beautiful shoe, and Antonio Mecariello is kind of now one of the established shoemakers, even though he hasn't really been around for that long. Many of the shoemakers that have really come onto the scene have done so since the 1950s, 60s, and 70s in Italy, like Paolo Scafora, who was been popular for about 4 decades, and Antonio's really been around for the past decade, and for many years offered what was described as a really high value to price proposition at that middle high end, making shoes that were really hand welted or a modified Goodyear welt with some hand welting features that were hard to find in other shoes at that level in price. You'd have to pay a lot more to get a shoe with the quality, shape, lasting, and the welting that you were finding in Antonio Mecariello shoes. And so this is an example of one of those shoes, and it's a brand really worth investing in, and retains value on the used market. And it's a single operator working in Italy, and there's a number of people on this forum. I know David Levin, for example, and Jesse both have pairs. David has a number of pairs that he really likes, and he's a huge fan. Mecariello company and sort of shoemaker also has a MTO and even like almost a semi-bespoke program as well, where you can essentially send in measurements. They'll create a last for you if you want, and really kind of do the whole bespoke process. That's a whole different price point. But these shoes kind of are in that mid-tier, sitting above brands like TLB, Mallorca, Carmina, the more kind of popular players that you may be familiar with. Similar price point to John Lobb, and lower than companies like Edward Green, maybe in the ballpark, maybe a little higher than Crockett and Jones and some of the English makers, certainly cheaper than Berluti or Bontoni, but offering maybe even higher quality in terms of construction. So again, wanted to kind of give you, this is built off his Chisel 2 soft square last, if I can kind of get that so you can see the sort of square toe there with a little taper. So it's chiseled and it's a soft square. There's a nice view of the angles right there. I think that's kind of a nice way to kind of see the shoe. Really, really narrow, nice, tight waist there that kind of tapers in that kind of bespoke sort of way that we all look for. And then again, as I mentioned, just the beautiful details. Everything's super clean. Really everything about the shoe is really, really nice. So I've gone well over what I was expecting to go over, but Antonio Mecariello is a brand well worth exploring. He's got an Instagram. That's where most of his photos, which are very well done as a photographer, I think it's very well done photos. And you get shoes that feel like they inspire a pride of ownership because they come fairly well finished, often with a little bit of a burnishing, with a little bit of a shine on them, and you can kind of add to that if you want, and make it your own. But ultimately, just a beautiful shoe worth well considering. So take a look for yourself. Go on his Instagram, go on the website, and make your own decisions about if you think it's a brand that interests you. All right, take care. Okay, bye.